Something that does bother me, and I will bring up a specific issue in terms to how they're not learning anything. It was an episode where they had basically a mechanic who was working on Buster Ace. He screwed up. The Red Ranger got mad at him, and the Red Ranger had to learn a lesson about teamwork. That it's not just them; it's like everybody else in the facility is helping them to fight the Vargas to save the world and all that. And he has to kind of like soften up for that, which I thought was a very odd episode to begin with because I don't necessarily see a kid who's 18, 19, maybe 20 years old reacting to that way exactly. I don't think that was a good episode overall, but he learned something, but I'm not saying that it completely changed his character, which a lot of these shows, because it's only 1 year, that does lack. It doesn't completely change their character. Their arcs are much smaller and usually refined to one episode. Not to say that they don't carry those things over. It just seems to me that they didn't learn as much as they potentially could have. All right, let's get back on track right here. I want to go ahead and talk about Yoko, the Yellow Ranger, and that's the easiest name that I can, well, the second easiest name I could pronounce. So in the tradition of many other shows, she is the youngest. I think she's 16, 17. She's of high school age, and instead of being in high school, she's working on these missions and stuff like that, which is kind of odd to me. And I like her ending in the series is she ends up going to high school. That's her big thing at the end, is getting to high school and having a normal life and all that. And I just keep thinking, like, so she's there and all the girls talk about what they did on Friday night with what boys and did you go to the game and whatnot. And they ask, what'd you do, Yoko? Oh, I just saved the world from an evil computer program. What did you do? I mean, it's kind of funny, I guess, but yeah, it's very mundane, her ending, but the rest of the characters do kind of get mundane endings, which I think is almost appropriate. But they really do play up with her naivete, her childlike innocence. I mean, there are times where she can take control and be serious and all that, but I don't think her character is meant to be taken too seriously because, one, she's a rabbit, which is a funny kind of animal when you think about it to begin with. She is young, she is cute. Her temper really flares a lot. I hate to say she's like a typical woman, but she's more like a typical teenage girl. Let me put it that way, so I don't offend as many people. But she does have those things where she does get annoyed with the Blue Ranger, who is almost her surrogate father, I would go ahead and say, and does get annoyed at her buddy Roy, the rabbit, basically. Which I will say is Roger Rabbit, hilarious, love it. But she does have these kind of mood swings, but she doesn't have the overall character arc. I was actually glad they didn't really give her any type of love triangle or love story or anything like that. I mean, I think they may have had like one character she was interested in throughout the series, but it wasn't like an ongoing thing that, because for high school girls, at least how they're portrayed in media, it's like it's all about the boys and stuff like that. But for her, it was something more. It was protecting the world. She also, she didn't like going to school and stuff. I don't think they ever brought up shopping as a thing. So she's not stereotypical, but she's understandable. She is a real character as opposed to an archetype, I would say. And I liked her. Nothing particularly offensive, but also nothing particularly interesting about her compared to other female heroines. She's not like Luca. She's not very brazen or anything like that. She's not like who am I thinking? She's not like the whole point I'm trying to say is that she does have less of a personality, but she's a character you can quickly identify because she is the young high school girl, but doesn't have all those Bella Swan type traits, I guess. Now, before I get into the Nether Rangers, let's look at the command crew they have, because I really did like this command crew that they had in the base. They had the big boss and the two subordinates, the girl and the guy, and I can't remember their names. I should have wrote those down. I apologize. The only problem I have is I wish they were a more integral part to the story. because the commander, he's just there to shout out, go here, do this, maybe we should do that. He kind of has a relationship with Beatbuster Jin, but it's never really expanded upon. It's never really talked about too much. But he's just there to give exposition and send them on missions and things like that. I wish there was more they could do with his character. I know in the Go Buster versus Go Buster movie, in the alternate reality, he becomes the Black Ranger, which I kind of would have liked to seen something like that happen. I always love it when mentors get involved in the battle because usually they're the best fighters and the best characters. I mean, I like when Kruger got involved there, Tommy, of course, in Dino Thunder, and now Torin and Kyoryuger. Anytime a mentor is involved in fighting like that, I always enjoy it when they become rangers, and it's always a lot of fun. I wish that was something that could have happened. The two subordinates, I thought, again, more could be done with them. They were involved in a couple of plots, typically decoys or running certain missions, but if they could have used them, gotten to know their characters a little bit more. I mean, my wife liked that one guy. I don't know why. Maybe because she said something about his hair. I'm not quite sure and all that. But she thought he was cute, and she was wondering if he was going to come back and do anything. I was like, no, not really. He's just kind of there, I'm afraid. And she got disappointed. And the weird thing is, I almost thought the series was going to be done from that one girl's point of view, because the first episode, not only is it the first time the Go Busters really get together and join forces and whatnot and stuff, but it's that girl's first day working for them. So I almost kind of thought the series might be told from her perspective, from the first day of the job to everything ends, and she would give commentary on the situation or something. Maybe I was asking for a little bit too much, but it was kind of odd they would introduce her character, because I thought her character was going to be like an avatar for the audience, where you get that exposition, we learn with her, but we would follow her a bit. And that just didn't happen. She was kind of relegated to the background. I do like throughout the series, like on her desk, more and more little toy stuffed animals would start appearing and whatnot. I know a lot of women who are like that, basically. But I mean, they were okay for the roles they served. They were good. I just wish that they would become more involved with the plots, and we learned more about them and their motivations. And again, they were featured in some episodes, but not to the extent the other characters were. So again, that's something that did kind of bother me. The bunny roids were all kind of interesting. The thing about it that kind of bothers me is that I like how each of them is loyal to their human counterpart. Gorseki is loyal to Blue, Cheetah Neck is loyal to Red, and the rabbit, whose name eludes me at the moment, is loyal to the Yellow Ranger. They're there to help them. And it's not so much a servant's attitude, but it is some sort of loyalty they have to them, being with them for the last 13 years. Because that's something they do make a point of, is that these Bellroids have been their best friends for the entire period since their parents disappeared. And I wish more could have been done with those relationships. Yeah, they did some episodes on that. And really, what's the Go Buster versus Go Kaiger movie went into those relationships a little bit more. I wish that was kind of played throughout the series more, because it's always them worrying about the Rangers. It's never the Rangers worrying about them, except when the rabbit was kidnapped one time, and that's a completely different thing altogether. But I wish that there was more interplay between their relationships. And then what do the other characters think? I mean, when Gorseki's in a conversation with Yoko, what do they talk about? Do they just talk about their counterparts, or do they, actually have conversations about something? Because we do find out in the Go Buster versus Go Buster movie that the Belleroids do have souls. They are alive. They are living beings. So I would like to, with that revelation, I would have liked to have known more about their characters, their hopes, their wants, and all that. Because, what does all this really matter to them, I guess? I mean, yeah, they're going to be loyal to their masters and all that, but where does that loyalty come from? Is it because they are programmed? Do they indeed have those strong bonds there? Because, again, they have souls, so I imagine they're going to have emotions. So, you know, that's just kind of what I was a little worried about. Again, they didn't go to too much detail except in the movie and all that. And unfortunately, the movie got so far away from the actual crossover, it was kind of funny in a way. But I liked them. Another major issue I kind of had is that, okay, so Nick turns into a motorcycle. Why doesn't Goroseki and the rabbit turn into any type of vehicle? Because, when I first saw the toys in Cheetah Nick, basically it was a car that turns into a cheetah, that turns into a robot, and then can combine with the Megazord, and of course the little robot comes in there who's necessary to pilot it, and becomes a motorcycle. So my immediate thought is like each ranger is going to get their own Zord that's a vehicle, turns into an animal, turns into a robot, and their own little buddy Roid who's going to be their own personal transportation, whether it's a motorcycle, go-kart, jetpack, whatever. That was kind of my thought. But then we go into it, and I was really disappointed only the Red Ranger gets the cool motorcycle. Really? And then the other guys have to travel around in an SUV. That was kind of bothersome for me. I wish that was done differently. Maybe a little bit more development time could have done that. Because I just find it unfair that the Red Ranger gets the motorcycle and nobody else gets Jack. That's just the personal problem I have. But other than that, not that big of a deal.